Good morning and welcome to the Daily Tanya. Today is Thursday, the 14th day of Sivan. Let's begin with tzedakah. Gedola tzedakah shemekareves es hageula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. So we are in the middle of chapter 4 in the Shar, Hayichud, והאמונה, the gateway of faith, of unity and faith. And the Alter Rebbe left off last chapter with a question of how is it possible that we exist? If God creates us and the creation is a constant creation, and the metaphor was just like the light of the sun comes out of the sun, in order to have sunlight, you must have a sun constantly giving light. But the sunlight within the sun does not exist as a separate entity. It's in the sun globe. So the same thing, we, in the presence of Hashem, we do not exist as separate entities. But the question was, in that case, if God is everywhere, how do we exist? So yesterday we spoke about the two names in creation. That God used the name of Avaya and Elohim. Avaya is the power of revelation, and Elohim is the power of concealment. Hashem has the power of revelation and has the power of concealing himself. Power of revelation is the attribute, God's attributes of kindness, of giving and creating, and that is an endless giving, unlimited giving, and that is something which is totally impossible to understand. And because creating something out of nothing is beyond our understanding. As the joke that was said many times about those scientists who were atheists, and they came to Hashem and they turned to God and said, we don't need you. We can create, with today's modern technology, we can create something. Out of anything, we can create whatever we want. And God says, okay, let's see. So they picked up a piece of dust from the earth and they were about to create something, and Hashem stops them and says, hold on a second, go get your own earth. So creating something out of nothing is certainly beyond our understanding. And here comes the Alter Rebbe and says that just as this is beyond our understanding, the revelation, God's giving, God's creating something out of nothing is beyond our understanding, we cannot comprehend something like that. The same thing is also the power of concealment. The power that Hashem has, the unlimited power to conceal his presence, that the fact that we should be able to see ourselves as separate entities, that is the power of concealment, that is also beyond our understanding. We cannot understand that there is something that exists and there is no correlation between the source and the cause and the effect. That is what we say by davening, we say by the Amidah. We say, Baruch Atah Hashem, blessed are you Hashem. First blessing we say, Hakel, Hagodel, Hagiber. The God, the great God, and the mighty God. The great God, Gedula in the Kabbalah, refers to Chesed, God's endless giving. That is the greatness of Hashem. The Giber, the Gevura, is God's ability to conceal and to restrict is the godly energy. And that is incomprehensible. It's just like the power of revelation is incomprehensible. We cannot understand it. So let's see inside, the Alter Rebbe continues to explain this concept. Says the Alter Rebbe, Vehine, k'moi shemidas zu hi shvachoi shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu levadei. Now this attribute of Hagadol, the attribute of Chesed, that spreads forth his life force into all the worlds, so as to create an ex nihilo, something out of nothing. So just like this attribute is exclusively the praise of the Holy One, blessed be He. She'ein bi'yecholes shum nivra livra yesh me'ayin elach hayosei. For no created thing can create a being out of nothing and give it life. Like the Medrash says, if all the wise people of the world would get together, they will never be able to create not even a mosquito, a wing of a mosquito, and put life into it. Something out of nothing is beyond our understanding. So creation, ex nihilo, something out of nothing, is utterly beyond the realm of created beings. In the words of the Midrash, as we said before, even if all mankind were gather together, they would not be able to create even the wing of a gnat and animate it. So not only are we not able to do this, create something of nothing, we're not able to understand it. It's beyond our understanding. This attribute of benevolence, whereby God creates ex nihilo, something out of nothing, this is also beyond the cognition of all created creatures and their understanding. She'en koyach b'seichel shum nivro lehaskil u'lehasig mida zu v'yecholto livro yesh me'ayin u'lachayosei. Where it is not within the power of the intellect of any creature to comprehend through the faculty of chachma, or understand through the faculty of bina, understanding, this attribute and its ability to create a being out of nothing and vivify it, give life to it. Ki abriyo yesh me'ayin, u'davar shelemayla meseichel hanivroim. Because a creation, something out of nothing, is a matter which transcends the intellect of all creatures. Ki hi mimidas gedulosai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As this, inasmuch as it stems from the divine attribute of Gedula, the attributes of Hashem, of Chesed, the attributes of Gedula, the greatness. Now the Medrash, the Zohar explains that Hashem's attribute is one with Hashem himself. What does that mean? That God's revelation of himself through his attributes is full, complete, as one. There's no limits in this revelation of godliness with its attributes. והקדוש ברוך הוא מדייסב אחדus pashut, כדייסב בזייר הקודש, דהי וגם היחד. And the Holy One, blessed be He, and His attributes are a perfect unity. As the Holy Zohar states, He and His causations, meaning His attributes, are one. So just like we cannot understand God, we cannot understand His attributes. They are fully one with Hashem. And just as it is impossible for the mind of any creature to comprehend its creator, so is it impossible for it to comprehend his attributes, for they are one with him. Continues the Alter Rebbe and says that just like we said about the attribute of kindness, the attribute of giving and creating, the attribute of revelation, we cannot comprehend. Same thing, we cannot comprehend, we cannot grasp the concept of what it means that God conceals It conceals himself with himself. What does that mean? How could you conceal something? If you conceal something, then you have something else. But if everything is Hashem, Hashem is everywhere. How could Hashem conceal this light and allow us to feel ourselves as independent being? That is also, says the Alter Rebbe, beyond human understanding. Not only human understanding, beyond any creature, angels, any creature of Hashem is not capable of understanding this concept. It's beyond it. להשיג מידס גדולוסי, שהיא היכולת לברוא יש מאין ולהחיוסי, כדכתיב עולם חסד ייבנה. And just as it is impossible for the mind of any creature to apprehend his attributes of gedula, which is the ability to create a being out of nothing and give it life, as it is written, the world is built by the kindness, it's created through the attributes of kindness. Kach mamash ein biyecholtoi להשיג מידס גבורוסי של הקדוש ברוך הוא. Exactly so, it is impossible for any creature, to apprehend the divine attribute of Gevura, the might, the strength. This attribute of restraint, which is the faculty of Tzimtzum, the condensation, the contraction, restraining the spreading forth of the life force from his attributes of Gedula. Preventing it, this attribute of concealment prevents it from descending upon and manifesting itself to the creatures and providing them with life and existence in a revealed manner, but rather with his countenance concealed. Meaning the divine activating force is at work within creation in a concealed manner. That is the power of Gevura. Thus, it is the attribute of Gevura and Tzimtzum that enables the life force to be concealed from the very creature it is creating. And that's beyond our understanding. Shachayus mistater begufa nivra, vekeilu gufa nivra udova bifnei atzmai. For the life force conceals itself in the body of the created being, making it appear as if the body of the created being had independent existence. Ve'eino ispashtus achayes v'ruchnis kispashtus aziva oyer me'ashemesh alu udova bifnei atzmai. And making it appear as though the created being was not merely an extension of the life force and the spirituality that creates it, just like the diffusion of the radiance and the light of the sun, but an independently existing entity. That's what we feel ourselves. We feel ourselves as separate, independent entities. Although in reality the created being has no independent existence. And it is only like the diffusion of the light from the sun. Nevertheless, this nullification is not felt by the created beings, even though they are but a diffusion of God's activating force. For this capacity of self-concealment is precisely the restraining power of the Holy One, blessed be He, who is omnipotent. God's omnipotence expresses itself not only in His ability to bring forth light and bestow life, but also in His ability to conceal this same light and life from the beings he creates. That is the power. The endless power of Hashem. And hence is able to condense the life force and spirituality which issues from the breath of his mouth, and to conceal it, so that the body of the created beings shall not become nullified out of existence. And hence, notwithstanding the fact that the created being is but a diffusion of the rays of its source, it is thus unable to perceive itself to be an independently existing entity. And that is something that is beyond our understanding. It is beyond the scope of the mind of any creature to comprehend the essential nature of the tzimtzum and concealment, and to comprehend that nevertheless, the tzimtzum notwithstanding, the creature itself be created ex nihilo. Just as it is not within the capacity of the mind of any creature to comprehend the essential nature of the creation of being out of nothing. So just like this is impossible to understand, these are the two mysteries of creation. It is the mystery of creation, the mystery of revelation, which is beyond our understanding, and the same thing is also the mystery of concealment. How Hashem conceals himself and allows us to feel as independent existence. But this is, in fact, what Hashem did, and he did it because he wants to have a relationship with us. He wants us to climb out as much as possible from our self-existence and recognize this truth, this reality. They say about King David. It says in the Medrash, King David was constantly giving the praise of Hashem, talking about the greatness of Hashem and praising Hashem. And it says he felt pleased with all of these praises that he did to Hashem. And the frog turned to David and told him, I am praising God more than you. What does that mean? Because the human being has the intellect. Human being has the limitations of the intellect. We feel ourselves more than the animal. Animals, they say they praise Hashem constantly. Whatever they do, it is the praise of Hashem. But nevertheless, Hashem desires our connection, our relationship, our praise, to go out of ourselves and to realize the truth that Hashem exists. So this is the end of today's shir. Mitzvah Hashem will continue tomorrow further explaining this concept. Have a wonderful day.